So, welcome back to Modern Monarchy, episode 7. I didn't write it down on my notes which episode this is.
What episode is it? You tell us.
Everybody vote for what episode this is.
Yeah, that'll up our engagement.
Yeah, I'm not sure we're going to get too much engagement on this one anyways, because we're just going to talk about the Commonwealth, and I don't know how many people are...
You were right, episode 7.
Woohoo!
Look at you, so smart.
Yeah. Unless you can think of some sort of, like, clickbaity title about the Commonwealth. I don't know.
I don't know either. We'll think about that. We'll ask ChatGPT at some point.
You think about it, and then if you come up with something along the way, you let me know.
Okay.
All right. It's the Commonwealth. This is their flag.
I like that it's a C. Okay, wait.
It is a C for cookie.
And that's good enough for me. We're just going to take over for the Muppets since they don't exist anymore. Well, they're going to
Did you have a question?
Okay, I do, and you'll probably answer it. Are all the little diamondy things, like, is that for every country in the Commonwealth?
No.
Okay.
Easy peasy. No.
Okay.
They're just little rays coming off, and it's supposed to be in the shape of a C for Commonwealth, actually.
Okay. I mean, I guess I thought it would be more poignant, like how the U.S. flag is like, oh, there's 13 stripes for the 13 colonies.
I mean, that would be nice, but I feel like the number fluctuates so much that you'd have to change the flag like every other year.
Okay. All right, fine.
Yeah. Also, you can blame Canada because this flag was created at a meeting that they had in Canada at one point. Actually, Justin Trudeau's dad was one of the guys who's like accredited with making this flag, apparently.
Oh.
Yeah. So you can blame him for making something that has like a number of stuff on it, and everybody's wondering, oh, is that the number of nations in the Commonwealth?
No.
I also thought that.
Okay, well, I'm glad I wasn't the only one. Anyways,
so the Commonwealth originally was the British Empire. More or less.
Let's call a spade.
Not every country in the Commonwealth used to be in the British Empire, but this is where it all originated from.
Okay.
I chose one of these lovely pictures from the time of when the British Empire was at its height, and this is like the glorious view of it from England. And then, you and I growing up in America, we learned more of like this style of British Empire.
Indeed.
With all the bad stuff that happened.
About them, but not about us, yeah.
Yeah, so I actually went back and I watched a little bit of the Meghan and Harry Netflix show because they have some people on there that talk about the Commonwealth, including this one woman, Afua Hirsch, who wrote an article in The Guardian where she describes some not so great things about being in the Commonwealth. And she refers to the Commonwealth as the Empire 2.0. I think that's a little much. Like, the Empire, the British actually had oversight over all of these countries that they were taking over. So it was a lot more egregious. Like, some of the stuff she points out now is that, like, the UK is part of the Commonwealth, so it is taking advantage of, like, there's, like, tax advantages and whatnot between different Commonwealth countries, and considering Britain is kind of the epicenter of the Commonwealth, maybe it shouldn't be taking these kind of advantages of the smaller countries and, like, taking over some of the resources and whatnot. I understand that. I agree that the Commonwealth is not a perfect setup, but also if we talk about the fact that like in Africa alone, she said that British companies, I think, own or they make over like $1 billion every year from resources coming out of Africa because the natural resources are all privatized. So British companies go down there and they buy up land and they take the resources. But if you look at it on a global scale, when I Google who owns the most natural resources in Africa, there are plenty of articles about the US and China being in competition for that. And so I think it's more of just like a larger country still taking advantage of smaller countries.
But not it's like not limited to the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
it is a problem, but it's not really a Commonwealth problem. It's a global problem.
Got it.
Um, so when the empire was at its peak, it was the largest empire that's ever existed. It covered a fifth of the world's surface. But in 1864 is when we first get some movement away from the empire business. Representatives from the three British colonies, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and Canada, began to negotiate merging into one self governing confederation. They wanted to seek free trade with their southern neighbor, that'd be us, and feared possible aggression from the United States. That's so weird.
Why would you think that?
Why would you expect that?
We've never done anything aggressive in our history ever.
No, we're your best friends. Um,
Peaceful.
so, um, they wanted to be self-governing so they could establish their own defense forces instead of having to be like, "Hey, UK, like, we're getting attacked over here. Can you help?"
I know it's going to take a month,
Yeah.
an extra month for each letter we have to exchange between now and then.
Yeah. So, in July of 1867, 3 years later, they didn't want to, just so they wouldn't encourage another pesky revolution on one of their colonies, like us, uh, Britain agreed that Canada could become united and be a British dominion, and Canada could rule itself, but its laws would still be subject to British oversight, meaning that they could be vetoed. They could be vetoed at the monarch's discretion. So, kind of. You can rule yourself on the day to day stuff, but if we don't like it, we're going to change it. It's around this time, a polite way to put this, that the colonies were getting frustrated with imperial oversight, also known as we don't like that you're all up in our lands and stealing all of our resources and beating our people and just being overall terrible. Please go away.
Leave.
And the British heard this. They heard the complaints. Did they go away? No. They
I hear
instead
you.
they
However,
were, they were like, British Empire doesn't sound great if, people are saying that we're the bad guys. So what if we just say that all of these countries are connected into what's more of a commonwealth of nations?
so they rebranded.
Yeah, slowly. In 1926, Britain and the Dominions agreed that they would all be equal in status, united by a common allegiance to the crown, which I don't know what that means. Like, you're still all under our rule, but we're gonna just say that we're all equal in status?
Right?
I guess rebranding is a positive step in the right direction, but we're not doing great. Um, in 1931, there's the Statute of Westminster officially founding the British Commonwealth of Nations. They've officially rebranded now. It's not
Got
just like in public you would not want to call it the empire anymore. It's like, no, it is officially not an empire, but
They're
we
friends.
we still run everything. In 1947, now that we're this British Commonwealth of Nations, this is when people start going, so if we're all equal and we're just like hanging out, right? I would like to be independent. That would be great. So 1947, India finally won its independence from Britain, and in 1949, India would accept King George VI as head of the Commonwealth, and it would be the first country to join that didn't swear allegiance to the crown. So
So they're in, but they didn't take the oath.
they're like, I still want to hang out with you guys,
But I have boundaries.
but you're not the boss of me. The Prime Minister of India said, in the world today where there are so many disruptive forces at work, where we are often on the verge of war, I think it is not a safe thing to encourage the breaking up of any association that one has. I think it's just kind of thing like, as we're part of this Commonwealth, we're all agreeing that we're friends, right? And we're not gonna have war with one another.
Ooh, a video.
This is the only video we're gonna have.
Huh.
So, and it's not even like full video, it's a picture with some audio, but this is the Queen's 1953 Christmas message. This is her second Christmas message ever. And she's doing it from New Zealand. So she has like a little part, it's a 10-minute long Christmas message, and I just took out a chunk where she talks about her view on the Commonwealth.
I am ever more deeply impressed with the achievement and the opportunity which the modern Commonwealth presents. Like New Zealand, from whose North Island I am speaking, every one of its nations can be justly proud of what it has built for itself on its own soil. But their greatest achievement, I suggest, is the Commonwealth itself, and that owes much to all of them. Thus formed, the Commonwealth bears no resemblance to the empires of the past. It is an entirely new conception, built on the highest qualities of the spirit of man, friendship, loyalty, and the desire for freedom and peace. To that new conception of an equal partnership of nations and races, I shall give myself heart and soul every day of my life. I wish to speak of it from New Zealand this Christmas Day, because we are celebrating the birth of the Prince of Peace, who preached the brotherhood of man. May that brotherhood be furthered by all our thoughts and deeds from year to year. In pursuit of that supreme ideal, the Commonwealth is moving steadily towards greater harmony between its many creeds, colors, and races, despite the imperfections by which like every human institution, it is beset. Already, indeed, in the last half-century, it has proved itself the most effective and progressive association of peoples which history has yet seen, and its ideal of brotherhood embraces the whole world. To all my peoples throughout the Commonwealth, I commend that Christmas hope and prayer.
So that's a really optimistic way to look at it.
I love that she's like, this has never been done before. We're
Yeah.
friends.
Don't think it has been. I don't know any older group of nations that are just like,
We're buddies.
we're buddies. I
But
do find it
also,
interesting that she's like, it's nothing like an empire,
right?
but also I am talking to my people. Like,
Right?
we still need to work out some of the kinks. I understand you're the head of the Commonwealth, but, and that she is also head of state for most of those countries at that point still. Um, but I'm just thinking, like, if you're trying to make it more collaborative, that maybe you'd stop saying that you're my people.
Agreed.
But I do appreciate that I think her father, since her father was the first head of the Commonwealth, I think he instilled in her this appreciation of the Commonwealth, and that I've never seen any note of the royal family being upset that a country has become independent and removed the monarchy as head of state. Like, I think they really do love the Commonwealth as a group of independent countries.
Well, that's nice at least.
Yeah, because like I just say that because like I think the last country that removed the monarchy as head of state was Barbados, and the newspapers were saying that this is a real hit to the monarchy, and I was like, why?
I was gonna say, I'm like, what is Barbados bringing to the table?
Well, it's not what is Barbados bringing to the table, it's why the king is head of state of multiple countries because it's a vestigial fact from the empire. Like, it doesn't. He's the king of the United Kingdom. He's also king of 14 other countries. But in, like, basically name only, unless he's visiting. So
Right? Like,
why would,
why is this
why
such a
would,
hit?
why would it be upsetting that another country gained independence when they were essentially running independently already?
I feel like it's just one of those things where it's like, look, you lost them. And it's like, okay, cool.
It
They were
didn't really lose them. Like, they're still my buddy.
right.
We're still friends.
It's like your friend just like moved to a different like state. You're like, we're still friends. We just don't see each other as much anymore.
Yeah, it's whatever. I don't want to watch this again.
I am ever more deeply impressed with the
She's deeply impressed, and she would like to say that again. What's this building?
This is the Marlborough House.
Ooh.
Yeah. So 1965. I don't know why I'm talking like I'm from California. I moved to Oregon, and the West Coast is kicking it.
It's coming for you.
In 1965, the Secretariat was established, taking over many of the functions of the United Kingdom's government's, uh, the Commonwealth Relations Office. So when the Commonwealth started, the UK government had an office that took care of Commonwealth business. But in 1965, they decided to become, it's like the office that runs a lot of the main workings of the Commonwealth is still placed in London, but it's not part of the UK government anymore. So the
Okay.
Secretariat's kind of like the Congress of the Commonwealth, or maybe the Parliament of the Commonwealth. Basically, the Secretariat is the main governing office of the Commonwealth. And I'm just going to say that for now because I will get into the breakdown of how the Commonwealth is governed
Okay.
in a bit.
Okay. We're putting a pin in that.
Putting a pin in it. I just wanted to say a quick thing about Marlborough House because I noticed that there were the Prince of Wales feathers on the tops of the little, I don't know, the wings of the building.
Lovely plumage.
Lovely plumage. I was like, well, a Prince of Wales had to have lived there at some point, and long enough for them to put those actually into the brick. King George V was moved into Marlborough House when he was Prince of Wales, and that was Queen Elizabeth's grandfather. Um, Queen Mary, who was King George's wife, was also moved in there when they were the Prince and Princess of Wales, obviously. Uh,
Duh.
what I'm trying to say is that Queen Mary had, um, my God, what is the word? Queen Mary had like sentimental feelings for this place. So when she became a widow, she moved back in. And she outlived her husband by 17 years. So she spent the last 17 years of her life in Marlborough House. And then after she passed, various members of the royal family used it as a London residence. And then in 1953, not in 1953, in 1965, Queen Elizabeth leased it to the Commonwealth Secretariat.
Got it.
As far as I know, they're still leasing it from the royal family. I didn't see anything written that said like they stopped leasing it from the royal family. So I'm wondering if the royal family is making money off of the Commonwealth Secretariat working in that building.
Right?
That's an interesting thought.
Let's see if I can quickly find the answer. So it is still leased. Funds go to the British government. So the crown still owns the property. The income
Oh, okay. So it was a crown property. It wasn't a private royal property.
correct.
Okay.
Yes.
That sounds more
generated from the property, including the rent for it, is paid to the British government through the Treasury.
I'm not sure if that's much better.
I don't know.
Feelings wise. That's still the UK making some money off the Commonwealth.
A little bit. A little bit.
I thought it was a private royal residence, not one of the Crown estate. Because it said that it says that Queen Elizabeth leases it out, and she is not technically in charge of the Crown estate. The Crown estate has its own committee.
Right.
And belongs to the government.
Maybe she's just the one that made that decision, because this is on the Royal UK, like, Royal Finances page. This says that's how it's funded. So it must be like she made that decision. But I do see where, like, this does say, like, Queen Elizabeth leased the property to the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
So it does, the way it's worded does make it seem like she personally.
Right. Because she can't lease Buckingham Palace to anybody. Like, that's not her call. Everything owned by the Crown Estate belongs to the government, and the royal family just gets to use it.
Queen Mary has a pet cemetery there?
Yeah.
How many animals are in it?
I don't know.
The fact that they just mention it in like talking about it, I was like, oh, that's...
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyways.
Anyways. So, this is the Commonwealth today. I'm not sure exactly how updated this map is because, like I said, it changes every other year. But as of right now, it is a voluntary association of 56 independent countries, almost all of which were formerly under British rule. But like I said before, not all of them are ex-British Empire countries. In June of 2022, 2 countries joined the Commonwealth, Gabon and Togo, that used to be French colonies. I wonder how France feels about that.
Also, wait, so you said every 2 years? Is there like a, this year we're up for, like, we're going to apply for the next one? Like,
No, it's just, I just mean like the number of countries changes
okay.
pretty
You were just
frequently.
using it as like a figure of speech, not like it's
Yeah,
okay.
not
I was just,
exactly every 2 years.
I was just curious if it was like, okay,
Ugh.
can't miss the deadline for this year's application.
Oh, yeah, no. I'm going to apply for myself as a nation.
There you go. They would love it. They would be honored.
The Commonwealth has 2.7 billion citizens in it. An interesting fact is that 60% of those people are 29 and under.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's a lot of young people.
Right? That's like a hard cutoff, like 29 or younger. There's no like average in there or something.
What do you mean average?
Well, I'm just curious, is it like like I wonder what the average age is in that group, you know?
Oh, yeah, I don't know that one. I just know that a majority of the people in the 2.7 billion are 29 and under. There are different kind of categories of governments and memberships within the Commonwealth. There are 36 republics. 5 countries they have their own monarchies. And then 15 of the countries are Commonwealth realms. And the realms have the UK monarchy as their head of state.
Interesting. Okay.
Do you want to try to guess which ones have the king as head of state?
Based off this map.
No, not based off this map. How many do you know? The king have the king as head of state?
Canada.
Yeah,
Australia.
definitely.
Who else is on this map? The United Kingdom.
Yeah, it is one of the 15.
Is that Indonesia over there? Polynesia?
No.
Papua New Guinea?
Yeah.
New Zealand?
Yes.
I don't know any of the ones in the...
Go to the Caribbean.
I was like, I don't know who in the Caribbean's got things going on.
Jamaica.
Okay.
I'll just go through the rest of them. Bahamas, Belize, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Solomon Island, and Tuvalu. This made me then think about the fact that the king recently went to Canada and opened up Parliament as King of Canada. And then I was listening to an interview where the guy was talking about the man he's from Canada, and I think he's a journalist. Anyways, and he was just mentioning how like when he's in Canada, he's king of Canada. He's not the UK king. Like it's his job is slightly different than how it is in the UK. Um, I'll probably just link the interview below because I can't remember the specifics how. But I was thinking about the fact that um, there's always talk about the UK getting rid of the monarchy, which I don't think is going to happen anytime soon. But what if? Because
Could he
the
just move
king,
to like Canada and be in charge still?
right? I was like, he's head of state of 14 other countries, only because the UK took over all these countries during the British Empire. So once the empire is gone and you're still head of state somehow of this independent nation, if the UK decides that they don't want you as monarchy and your job as head of state of all these other countries is completely separate from your job as king of the UK, do you just send out a tweet that says, "Hey, who wants me?" Like,
Who's got rum? Daddy's
um,
home.
I only could find people online having discussions about this where everybody was kind of settling on, I guess he would go somewhere else. Like,
Right?
because his job as head of state is separate from his job as head of state of the UK, they could move somewhere else. And I thought that was an interesting scenario.
Right, because it's not like our president could just like go somewhere else and be like, I also am president here. I mean, he might, but
I was gonna say, I wish he would go away, but I also don't wish this on anybody else.
fair. Fair.
Yeah. So, how do you join the Commonwealth? Cassie wants to know because she wants to join.
I do.
Number one, it is helpful to have some sort of like a good friendship with or good connections with countries that are already part of the Commonwealth and to not have major beef with countries that are already in the Commonwealth because that's not going to help you get in.
That's fair. Seems like, yeah, like a private club, you wouldn't be like, oh, yeah, I've been kicked out of the club or I'm not friends with anybody in the club. Let me in.
Like, I really want to join, but I hate Australia.
And Australia hates me and everybody knows it.
I'm just going to join and I'm going to make everybody else hate Australia. uh, December of 2012, the leaders of the Commonwealth, the leaders of the Commonwealth agreed to a Commonwealth Charter, which sets out 16 core shared principles to which all member countries have committed. So obviously, you're going to have to be okay with all of these. Democracy, which is interesting because 5 of the countries, or
Are
6,
monarchies?
six of them are monarchies. I haven't quite looked into how absolute the other 5 monarchies are. I guess the UK counts as democratic because people can vote for things. Anyways, uh, you have to like human rights. Yeah, people have them.
That's why we're not in this.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna go through this list, and you're gonna see why if we applied, might be hard for us right now. Number 3, international peace and security. No.
No.
Number 4, tolerance, respect, and understanding.
No.
No. Number 5, freedom of expression.
Oh, God, no. Especially not today.
Number 6, separation of powers.
No.
Number 7,
Are,
rule of law.
are we
Rule of law.
are we gonna get to say yes to any of these?
We'll see. Number 8, good governance. Number 9, sustainable development. Number 10, protecting the environment. 11, health, education, food and shelter. 12, gender equality. 13, you have to promote young people in the Commonwealth because there's a lot of them. Number 14, the needs of small states, and then we have to care about the smaller countries in the Commonwealth. The needs of vulnerable states, and the role of civil society. We're not getting in.
We're not getting in. Those are very nice and optimistic, though.
Mm-hmm.
That's like actually like a solid list of like core values.
These are all things that I just thought would be obvious at this stage in the world. So, an informal assessment is undertaken by the Secretary General following an expression of interest by the aspirant country. As you can tell, I did not write that note because those were very nice words. I liked them a lot.
Aspirant.
Then there's a consultation by the Secretary General with member states. Like, they all get together and they talk about you. They're like, are we going to let them in? I don't know. An invitation to the interested country to make a formal application. So you first just show that you're interested, then they talk about you, then they go, okay, you can apply. Then there's a formal application presenting evidence of the functioning of democratic processes and popular support in that country for joining the Commonwealth. But I like that last part of you have to show that the people of your country would also like to join the Commonwealth and it's not just you. Like, listen, I just became president and I thought it'd be really cool. Oh, that slide would have been great a few minutes ago.
The answer's no.
No. I really hope I didn't like mess up my slides. I don't know what the next one is. I'm gonna look and I'm probably gonna edit it out. Oh, I should have gone to that next slide for all that stuff. Oh well.
Oopsies.
Okay. There is no such thing as the passport on the screen, first of all. Just
Okay.
there is no Commonwealth passport. But I just wanted to talk about some of the benefits of being in a Commonwealth country. The first few of these I got straight off the Commonwealth website, so they're going to be really word salady. But I just copied and pasted.
Okay. This is
Okay.
what you would see if you went to apply.
Yeah. Well, no, this is you as an individual. Like what you would get from being in a Commonwealth country.
Not like a country, like you as a person.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, the country and individuals, depending on what you're looking for here. So, like the first point is if you're part of the Commonwealth, you're aided by more than 80 different Commonwealth organizations. So there are some organizations that aid countries in progressing in whatever way they want to. But there are also programs related to the Commonwealth that help individuals. Like if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a young entrepreneur, you could work with the Queen's Commonwealth Trust, which is kind of like the Prince's Trust or the King's Trust that helps young people get out of difficult situations and better their lives.
Okay.
The Commonwealth Secretariat supports member countries to achieve development, democracy, and peace. Their work helps to grow economics, boost trade, empower young people, and address threats such as climate change, debt, and inequality. And the Commonwealth provides training and technical assistance and support decision makers to draw up legislation and deliver policies. Which I think is good, that they actually have a group of people that will help you upgrade your government. Some countries have preferential citizenship acquisition or residency policies for Commonwealth citizens. So if you're in a Commonwealth country and you want to move to the UK, it'll be easier for you to get citizenship in the UK if you're already part of the Commonwealth.
Makes sense.
Commonwealth citizens may receive consular assistance from other Commonwealth countries, aka like a British embassy may provide assistance to people from the Commonwealth in non-Commonwealth countries if their own country is not represented. So, like, you're from Togo and you go to another country that doesn't have a Togo embassy, but there's a British one there, you could go to the British embassy and they'll help you out.
Okay.
And is that? I want to be in the club. Oh, yeah. This last one, I put benefit, question mark. Commonwealth citizens are eligible to serve in the British Armed Forces.
Oh. So basically, we could call on you if we wanted to.
No, I don't think they could call on you, but if for some reason you're from another country in the Commonwealth and you're like, I really want to work for the British Armed Forces,
You can.
they'll take you.
But they're not going to draft. They can't like draft people from other countries, I guess.
No.
Is what I'm getting. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I interpreted it for a second there, because it's like, that's a little caveat where it's just like, yeah, we're going to borrow from you. We
Like,
have enough people.
that would definitely make it feel more like an empire.
Exactly.
Okay.
Nice
So-
necklace.
Now I'm going to try to describe the governance of the Commonwealth. The head of the Commonwealth is
The king.
the king. It is an important symbolic role. That's what the website for the Commonwealth says. It's symbolic. I don't know how important it is, but it is. There is no maximum fixed term, and it is claimed to be not hereditary. Future heads are chosen by the heads of the Commonwealth nations. So it was King George VI who was Queen Elizabeth's father, and then it was given to Queen Elizabeth, and then it was given to King Charles. It looks a little hereditary.
I was gonna say, I'm like, where's the non-hereditary piece?
But I feel like maybe because the Commonwealth was so fresh at the beginning when King George VI died, that it maybe was a little more hereditary then. Because when the Queen became Queen, she was only like 25, so it's not like you were voting for her to be head of the Commonwealth because she was so worldly and she knew so much about all of the Commonwealth. But I could see with Charles that you would want him to be head of the Commonwealth because he's been around forever. He's
Right.
literally been around the world so many times. He knows all these people. He knows, like, your president from 20 years ago. Like,
Right. So it makes sense for him. So I guess we'll
yeah.
kind of have to see what happens next.
Well, that's the one I'm interested in because um, I mean, William is great. I love William. I don't see him going around the Commonwealth so much and like learning the intricacies of how all these other countries work.
Which is
I
kind of
think,
Charles's thing. Like Charles loves culture, so it
oh, he
makes
loves it.
sense for him. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Um, I think William's really good at working in the UK on like homelessness and stuff. But then his other passion is working globally on the environment.
mhm.
And I feel like that stuff takes up a lot of his time also trying to be a good dad to 3 children. So
Minor details.
it will be interesting to see if he becomes the next head of the Commonwealth.
Ooh, who's
But,
this bitch?
I was thinking earlier that I was like, this is basically the HBIC. But then I was like,
Just the
maybe I
vibe.
shouldn't. Maybe I shouldn't call her the head bitch in charge.
It just that's the vibe she's got. Like as soon as you went to this, I was like, I respect this woman. I don't know who she is, but I
Oh,
respect the fuck out of her.
oh yeah, yeah. So this is the Commonwealth Secretary General, kind of
Not,
like the Prime Minister or the President of the Commonwealth.
I believe it. She's serving,
The
and I'm
secret.
here for it.
The Secretary General promotes and protects the Commonwealth's fundamental values, represents the Commonwealth globally, and manages the Commonwealth Secretariat. She's appointed by the leaders of the Commonwealth, and can serve a maximum of 2 4-year terms. I said that she is appointed by like every time it's a woman, but before her was a woman as well, and she served for the whole 2 4 years. So I've only, while being acquainted with Commonwealth Day and other Commonwealth activities, I've only known a
Women,
female Secretary General.
but also a way to promote gender equality, one of their core values.
Yeah. So she just started April 1st of this year.
Oh damn, I would not have guessed that. She seems like she's been there and she knows her shit.
I know. It's because she was before that. She was in politics and working for her own government in Ghana for many years.
Got it. Okay.
She does know her shit. Um, she is the, oh god, don't let me mess this up. her
I
name
can't
is
see what you're about to say, so
her
you're on
name
your.
is the Honorable Shirley a Yorker Bochi.
Okay.
And her last name is spelled Botchwey. But I listened to her say her name, and I think she said Bochi.
Okay. I believe you. You could say whatever you want. I'd be like, yeah,
Her
cool.
name is Shirley, and I like it.
She doesn't look like a Shirley, but I'll accept it.
I'll get that. I see what you mean.
Her hair says Shirley. Her face says like.
Her hair does say Shirley. It surely does.
But her energy doesn't say Shirley.
No. She is a Ghanaian, a politician, diplomat, and a lawyer.
Of
At
course
the
she is.
at the time of her appointment, she was Ghana's Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration. She is the first African woman, the second African overall, to lead the Commonwealth.
Amazing.
She looks fantastic. I
She
just
really
love it.
does. Honestly, the colors really work too. Like, she just looks fucking smart.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
I bet she's going to get a second term.
I'm feeling that too, unless she royally fucks up.
This is my next slide for Board of Governors because I couldn't find a decent picture of the Board of Governors. So I went with flags. Um,
Okay.
when in doubt with the Commonwealth, just do flags. All member governments are represented by their high commissioners on the Board of Governors. A high commissioner is essentially like an ambassador, but just for your relations with other Commonwealth countries.
Okay.
So if you are a Commonwealth country, you have an ambassador and a high commissioner.
Got it.
The Board of Governors meets once a year and they approve the Secretariat's strategic plans, work programs, and budgets. Now we get to the Secretariat, the Commonwealth Secretariat. I got a little distracted because this picture is a little bit old and the old Secretariat Governor is here in the middle. That's Patricia.
Patricia and then Shirley.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Also, love the purple. That's a solid purple.
She always wears great stuff. Every time I see her at like, I don't know, she shows up at a lot of things that have the royal family in them, and I'm always like, Patricia! Okay, so we said before, the Commonwealth Secretariat is based at the Marlborough House. Why can't I say Marlborough? Marlborough?
Because they throw an L in there and yeah.
It's the L and the R's.
Yeah.
Marlborough. It is an intergovernmental organization which supports member countries and coordinates Commonwealth activities. Staffed by professionals from across the Commonwealth, it works with governments to deliver on priorities agreed by the Commonwealth heads of government. They bring policymakers together and provide guidance and technical assistance to member countries, which makes me feel like they're IT for your country.
Right, I was gonna say, I'm like, it's like tech support.
Yeah, it's expert.
Customer service. You're like, I'm having a problem with my country. Help.
I'm having a problem with my legislature. Can you help? Oh, yeah. Let me just bring in Tim on line 3.
We've got a pamphlet for that.
It represents the interests of member countries, especially small and developing states, who can sometimes be overshadowed by larger, more powerful countries. Contributions to the Commonwealth Secretariat are determined according to each country's ability to pay. Somebody has to pay for this.
Got it.
My example is from the New Zealand government website because they were the only website that seemed to just give me this information readily. In 2022, New Zealand contributed nearly $3 million to the Commonwealth Secretariat and just over $2 million to other Commonwealth organizations. This is why I said back when we were talking about Canada in like episode 2 that one of the reasons I don't think Donald Trump would want us to join the Commonwealth is that as a very large and powerful and rich country,
we'd have to give away a lot of money.
We would be expected to pay for this. And we'd be expected to pay more than the small countries, which, judging from the tariffs, Trump has a problem with.
Only a little bit.
There is the Commonwealth Ministerial Action Group. This is the group that deals with countries that aren't really doing what they're supposed to be doing. So they deal with serious or persistent violations of the Commonwealth's shared principles, made up of a rotating group of foreign ministers from 9 countries in the Commonwealth. So what they can do is they can suspend your Commonwealth membership. You don't get any of the bennies.
Until you get
Uh,
your shit together.
yeah. So no country has ever been expelled from the Commonwealth, just suspended. I got Fiji and Nigeria were suspended during periods of autocratic rule. So they're prevented from taking part in Commonwealth activities, and they are no longer allowed access to IT tech support.
You can't sit with us while you have a king.
You cannot call the help desk. 1949, Ireland, this is back at the beginning of the Commonwealth, Ireland just withdrew from the organization altogether when it became a republic.
Got
South Africa withdrew in 1961 when it became clear that its reapplication for membership when they became a republic would be rejected. Which I had to look around a few times because I don't remember where I saw this sentence, but it was like, why would they be rejected after they became a republic? And it was because of apartheid. They were like, you can't do that.
We're not into that. We
We
signed a
don't
thing, remember?
we don't do that here. Uh, the South African Prime Minister withdrew South Africa's application for membership in the interests of South Africa's honor and dignity, which sounds an awful lot like the leaders of the Confederate in in the United States.
A little bit.
After the democratic elections of 1994, South Africa was welcomed back into the association. Pakistan left in 1972 when other member countries recognized Bangladesh and returned after their democratic elections in 1989. So, other countries in the Commonwealth just said, yes, Bangladesh is its own place. And Pakistan said, we can't hang out with you.
We out.
But they're back now. We're good. Zimbabwe, which had been a member since its independence in 1980, was suspended from the Commonwealth Councils in March of 2002, following the presidential election, which was marred by a high level of politically motivated violence, and during which the conditions did not adequately allow for a free expression of will by the electors. Again, we're not getting in. Then in December 2003, following the, I'm just going to say CHOGM. It's called CHOGM. It's the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. In 2003, after the CHOGM statement on Zimbabwe, the government of Zimbabwe withdrew from the Commonwealth. And then in 2016, the Maldives had withdrawn from the Commonwealth, accusing it of interfering in domestic affairs and unfair and unjust treatment. What had happened was the Commonwealth had warned the Maldives of possible suspension if it failed to show progress on democracy. And then in 2020, they were readmitted after showing evidence of a functioning democratic process.
So I like that they actually kind of hold people a little accountable.
I mean, as much as you can.
Right. Without starting a war.
I think it's interesting that this membership is strong enough to make these countries redirect.
Right, we can kind of a little bit peer pressure them.
Right, because like, I don't know, if being part of the Commonwealth wasn't a biggie, you'd just be like, well, screw you, we're gonna go do our own thing.
Exactly, you'd be like, no big deal. Like, we don't care if you don't like it.
Right. Now we go to Chagam.
Chagam.
Chagam! Last year was in Samoa. That's why.
Does
I was
Chagam
there.
stand for? Is it?
Commonwealth Heads of Government Meeting.
Okay, all right. I was gonna say, I'm like, it's the acronym, right? Okay.
I appreciate that they put the O in there for of, because a lot of times when people make an acronym, they just take out the small words, and
Right.
I
So make
hate
it
that.
work. I think they needed a vowel though. Right. They're like, just use the O.
So the heads of government meet every 2 years, not every couple of years, just la la la, every 2 years. Hosted by a different member country on a rotating basis. They shape Commonwealth policies and priorities on shared goals like development, democracy, peace, trade and the economy, climate change, and the environment. And then the hosting country of that year, their head of state becomes the Commonwealth chair in office. So this year it is the Samoan Prime Minister. She's going to be the chair in office for the next 2 years, and this person represents the Commonwealth at high-level international meetings.
Ben.
Yeah. Chagam is also an opportunity for heads of countries to address shared challenges and set new priorities. Decisions are reached by consensus, with statements reflecting the views of all those present. And every meeting has a theme, because of course it does. This last year it was delivering a common future, connecting, innovating, transforming.
That doesn't sound like a theme.
It's a theme, okay?
No, but okay.
The next Chagam will be hosted by Antigua and Barbuda in 2026.
Ooh, tropical.
Yes. Then there's Commonwealth Day. These are just things that are associated with the Commonwealth. So Commonwealth Day is an annual celebration observed by everybody across the Commonwealth. But for me, the biggest thing is there's a televised service in London every year. The Commonwealth Secretariat hosts a televised reception welcoming representatives from across the member states and a vibrant
Wow. Those are two very different things. A violent joust to the death with their flags. I thought peace was one of their shared goals.
I'm crying. Oh. Okay. It's a vibrant, multi-faith service at Westminster Abbey celebrating diversity and unity. Also has a theme every year. This year's theme was Together We Thrive, celebrating the enduring spirit of the Commonwealth family. Also, I wanted to take this moment to say that Commonwealth Day had the royal family coming to Westminster Abbey, and this is one of my favorite Catherine fashion moments, where she wore this Erdem suit dress thing. Skirt suit.
Skirts.
I thought it was really nicely tailored and beautiful. There's the front. Look at the back.
Whoa.
Right?
Mermaid on mermaid.
Yeah, and then you can see that the lining inside is the reverse colors.
Oh, look at that.
Isn't that great? This is one of the best days ever.
It's a nice dress.
There are the Commonwealth Games, which happen every 4 years.
Are those
Just like
violent?
no, they're actually called the Friendly Games.
That's so nice.
Yeah, yeah. It happens every 4 years, like the Olympics. Then they have the Commonwealth Youth Games for people that are 14 to 18 years old.
I was gonna say 29 or under.
Those ones are violent.
They can handle it.
We have the Commonwealth Society, which is a network of individuals and organizations committed to improving the lives and prospects of Commonwealth citizens around the world.
Wow.
It champions the importance of literacy, equality, and inclusion, the environment, and everything else the Commonwealth does. I only bring up the Commonwealth Society because the King and Queen are patron and vice patron. Other than that, they're just a bunch of people that like to help out the Commonwealth.
That's nice.
It is what it is. Last thing is the Queen's Commonwealth Trust that we talked about earlier. It was established April 21st, 2018, in recognition of Her Majesty the Queen's lifetime of service to the Commonwealth. The Queen was the charity's patron, and now the King is. Fun fact, March of 2019, the president and vice president of the Queen's Commonwealth Trust were Harry and Meghan.
Wow.
So I think that this was like the best they could have done. Like when they left the royal family to go essentially try to do all the same royal stuff, but get paid more. I think it's not working for them because they're not working royals. They don't represent anybody anymore. Like the president and vice president of the Queen's Trust, the Queen's Commonwealth Trust, is a good position for them because they can be the face of it and do all these videos and have conversations with people without having too much of this trust rest on their backs. You know what I mean?
I do. Also, yep. Okay.
Hi.
I was gonna say, I'm like, my cat is creeping up behind my laptop. Okay.
Okay. Anyways, I think this was the best job for them.
And yet, they still left.
And then they still left. And they're trying to, like, do all the same stuff. But it doesn't work when you're not a working member of the royal family actually. Like,
Caring?
this is your job. Like,
Right.
the cat is staring at me.
Is she?
I just saw an eyeball, just like one, just being like, okay,
Righty.
so one last slide before we just quickly go over the upcoming events that are coming up. That was really redundant. I'm having a lot of those moments today. One thing I really like about British and Commonwealth events and whatnot. Can you please? Thank you for getting comfortable over there. One thing I really like about British and Commonwealth events is that there's usually a website, at least, if not also an app to help you celebrate whatever you're celebrating. And a lot of the times they'll have like printable resources and like videos and stuff that you can put on social media to to promote whatever event it is. It's all very organized, and I like it a lot. One of the things about Commonwealth Day that they have on their website is you can download this PDF to teach children about the Commonwealth. And
Oh,
it's
show
like
me.
16 pages, but I just decided to save the last page for you. And it is, what have you learned, Cassie?
Oh, wow. Well, like none of these things.
Okay. Can you see the answers at the bottom?
No, well, I mean, I can.
Well, don't read them.
Okay.
Okay. So, what percentage of the world's population lives in the Commonwealth?
Well, you said there was, what, like 2 billion people? So, like,
2.7.
and there's like, what, 6, 7 billion people? So, like 30%?
It's about 30%. I
I can do math!
knew you could do it. Oh,
We
this one
didn't
you're
talk
not.
about this one.
Yeah, it's 400. How many athletes attended the first Commonwealth Games is 400.
Okay.
Oh, I
I don't.
didn't say it specifically when
I was
Commonwealth
gonna
Day
say,
is.
like, you did not even tell what day it is.
It's the second Monday in March.
Okay.
Why are the Commonwealth Games called the Friendly Games?
I'm guessing because they're friends. Like, it's
Yeah,
nice.
it promotes unity. So
Okay.
like, it's like icebreaker games at work.
Got it.
How many countries are in the Commonwealth?
What did you say? 50. Didn't you say 57?
Oh, you were close before.
Oh, 56?
Yeah. I like how both 56 and 57 start with 50, and I still knew that the first time you were going to say 6.
I second guessed myself. I was like, was there another one?
What was the Commonwealth called in 1931?
Like prior to that, like the British Empire?
The in between. This is not a good question.
I don't know.
The the British Commonwealth of Nations.
Okay, I don't remember.
It's not a good question. It's essentially the same thing. It just says the British at the beginning. Which countries joined the Commonwealth in 2022?
Oh, you said this. Togo was one of them. I don't remember the other one.
Gabon.
Gabon. Okay.
Where is the Commonwealth Secretariat based?
Marlborough House.
You better know that.
I was gonna say, I'm like, I know this one.
What country hosted the 2024 Chagam?
Samoa.
Samoa.
I will take Samoa.
And who's the first female Secretary General of the Commonwealth? I didn't say this about her, but I did mention her.
So it is Patricia.
Yeah, Patricia Scotland.
Oh, but her last name is Scotland?
Uh-huh.
Hysterical.
And according to the 10 questions at the end of the Children's Pamphlet on Commonwealth Day, that's everything you need to know about the Commonwealth.
Well, why didn't we just answer those?
This is my itinerary. This is a 10-minute episode.
You will learn. Children's edition.
Mm-hmm. So going through, there's a bunch of upcoming events in the next couple of weeks. Tomorrow, which is today when you're watching this episode, is Prince Philip's birthday. He would be 104 if he were alive. And he would look just like this.
On a horse.
On a horse. The 14th is Trooping the Color, also known as the King's Birthday Parade, which I almost changed this episode to being a Trooping the Color episode because I like digging into what is so fun about this parade. Because it is like 2 hours of watching the military just march around a lot, which if you don't know like the intricacies and the movements and stuff and like why they do stuff is pretty boring.
Also, how relevant is it today? That sounds like not very.
I mean,
Drone strike would kill all of them.
well, that's true. I don't know. It is like a birthday celebration, but it's in June no matter what, well, no matter when your birthday is because of the weather. I think it's just tradition, and also I think the people in
Oh,
the parade
okay.
like to do it.
Got it. Okay, Catbit.
The 15th is Garter Day, where there's a
Lovely
procession.
plumage.
Yes.
So much plumage this episode.
Hmm. We'll talk about the Order of the Garter in another episode where we talk about different orders of nobility and merits and whatnot. And then the 17th through the 21st is Royal Ascot, and it's just multiple days of horse races and different royals
Faces of
show up.
Camilla.
And many different faces of Camilla and Charles. They get very excited.
Those aren't my excited faces, but okay.
The 18th is Lena Tyndall's birthday. So that's one of Princess Anne's grandchildren. And the 19th is the anniversary for Sophie and Edward. And the 21st is Prince William's birthday.
That's nice.
Yeah. And that's it.
Amazing.
That's all I got.
Now I gotta come up with a catchy name for this.
Catchy name for what?
The episode, remember? You were like, what's a clickbaity name for
A clickbaity name for the Commonwealth.
What's the new Shirley HBIC?
HBIC. No, I probably won't do that.
Fine.
I'll figure something out. So we have to let Cassie go because she has very important hockey to watch.
It's finals and it's a repeat of last year, and I really would like for Edmonton to win.
I didn't know that hockey happened in June.
So this is like the end of it. This is like the end. Like we are in the finals. So
When does it start?
when does it start? Like so, preseason starts at the end of September. Regular season starts in October,
I suppose that's okay.
and then playoffs start in end of April.
Okay.
Okay. It also kind of is like it's a little bit dependent. Like playoffs are a little bit dependent on like how many games you go, because like you could sweep another team in 4 games, but it's like best out of like 7. So if you go like tit for tat or whatever, not even tit for tat, but you have game 7 is the deciding. So if you have 7, if everybody was insane and went to game 7 every single time, it would be like even further in.
I hate game 7s.
Oh, it's
really
so
do.
incredibly stressful.
It is so stressful. I don't watch baseball anymore. Mostly because it is hard to find inexpensive live television that lets you watch sports.
Yes.
When I used to watch baseball has like 162 regular games in a season.
Which is wild. Like I don't understand baseball. I don't understand how that's a thing.
I mean, I don't know if it's because I just grew up with it in the house. And so it's normal for me. But
I feel like your dad like never missed a game either.
Right, because it was on television. You just turned on ABC.
Fair.
And your game is on.
But also it's so funny to me that like in my brain, I don't know what else your father watches but the Red Sox.
Well, at this point, it's hard to watch the Sox. Although I think Grandma pays for
Fubo.
Fubo. She pays like $90 a month for live television so that they can watch baseball. Okay, so we just went on another tangent about sports and my dad.
My uncle.
Yeah. So, we need to end the episode. Um,
This is the part where we tell you if you've stuck around this long, this is your opportunity to like and subscribe or leave a comment.
I mean, you can say it too.
I just was like, clearly you need some help.
Yeah.
The focus thing has been hard.
It is real hard. It was actually real hard, like, for, like, the last week. I don't know. Maybe I need a nap. Okay. Yeah. So I have a complete lack of focus. And, so we're just going to say goodbye. Right?
Bye.
Goodbye, everybody.